Hi, I'm Grace Baroni, and welcome to Conversations with the ERC5. Today, I am so excited to have with me Pete Gray from Pete's Sweets. Pete, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited about this. So lots of things we have to talk about.
Yes.
And limited time, so I'm going to try to not, I can be a little bit of a talker.
Same.
So tell me, how did you start this journey with the baking, your own shop? How did that all come to happen?
Whew. Well, it is quite the story, and I don't think it could be summed up in a quick time frame, but I'll give you some of the highlights. So I went to school in East Longmeadow, Massachusetts. I'm born and raised here in East Longmeadow, and I started by doing this little school project. It was something that started as simple as we got to do a 4-minute oral presentation. And I ended up doing this on chocolate making because my grandmother used to do little chocolates out of her house. And my mom had some chocolate molds that she had played around with in her youth and decided to have me play around with them as well. And I chose chocolate as my little topic, and it went and blossomed into Pete's Sweets. Like, it was just this, what started as this little project, which turned into making cakes in middle school for all of my friends turning 16, to any project I could possibly somehow formulate into something sweet, because I learned really easy off that people can be very easily swayed into liking you if you give them some treats. So I used that to my advantage in school and all of my projects. I remember making a project on Mars and making like a cake that was shaped like Mars and just all sorts of stuff. So it ended up kind of really playing out really kind of nice that this little tiny project ended up blossoming into something a lot bigger. And, I've always loved to bake and cook and eat, you know what I mean? So I'm a diehard fan of all things sweets. And it was just this like kind of meant to be kind of situation, you know what I mean? So it started as that. Then in college, I ended up going to college because it was almost expected that I was to be someone that would love to be in the food industry. And I couldn't see myself doing anything other than baking and cooking and all that. So I went to New England Culinary Institute up in Montpelier, Vermont. Okay. I did all sorts of fun and exciting classes there. I was super into like hands-on learning, which was super important for me. And it just really turned into this just amazing love of this art. And then I ended up being on a quick TV show or two, and then it just turned out to be just this wonderful experience. And I don't know, I can't say enough good things about following what you love to do and
absolutely
just kind of seeing how it pans out.
Follow your passion,
yes,
because then you'll never have to work a day in your life, right?
I know. Well, it's funny when everybody says that. You always we say, oh yeah, it is a lot of work, but at the same time, I couldn't picture myself doing anything else. You know what I mean? Some people live their whole lives and they're like, oh, I wish I had been a dancer or florist or something like this. I was like, I truly cannot picture doing something other than the food industry, because it has so many different facets, and just my one job has gotten me so many different avenues. Like, I've done TV, I made a cake for a president, I've done some cool things just being in all things desserts and sweets. So I don't know, it works out pretty neat.
Well, you just said something, and you said the hospitality industry.
Yeah.
And I think you do the baking, and your chocolate cakes are to die for.
Thank you.
I mean, anything chocolate, that's me. I'm there for you. It's super delicious and wonderful. But there's a lot more besides just the baking, because you walk into your shop and it's a celebration.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what season it is. You embrace it like 120%. If it's Halloween, then everything in there is perfectly themed. If it's 4th of July, it's the same thing. It's just perfectly themed. So there's a lot more to you than just the baking. I feel like that hospitality is definitely you.
Yeah.
But I also think entertainment. Pretty soon we'll have lots of books from you, like Martha Stewart, right?
Thank you.
And I've seen your videos.
Minus the prison time. No. So yes, I love entertaining Honestly, one of my first words as a child was decorations. My first word was datuatins, and my family could not, for the life of them, figure out what I was saying as a kid. And I finally ended up going to this party store, iParty, out near Boston for my aunt. My mom and aunt were walking me through the aisles, and I like walked around, and I was just like datuatins, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, she's saying decorations." So it has truly been one of my first words, and I feel like I've lived up to that because my grandmother was a diehard decorator, loved doing all sorts of things, just passionate about. She was one of those people that had those like embroidered flags out in front of her house, and
Yes.
had all the different, every lamppost was dressed, every windowsill had a little candle in it at the holidays. So I have fully embraced my grandmother's spirit in the fact that I am a diehard decorator as well. So I just find such passion in decorating in general, whether it be, I'm not necessarily like an interior designer decorator, but more of I like to accentuate with the holidays on top of all the good stuff that's already there. So, I kind of applied that same passion into infused that into like my job, because the thing is that, life's too short not to do things you don't want to do. And for me, if I can figure out any way to make money off of doing stuff that I love to do, like, how can I not do that? You know what I mean? So that's where it kind of boils in that, I mean, what sets my bakery apart from a lot of other places is the extreme detail that I honestly don't even think most people would ever even notice, but I know it's there. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of the difference, is that you know how that people love going to like a Disney kind of place where they have like these fungineers that sit down and they make sure they hand spread glue sticks, over a blower to make these beautiful little spider webs that is anybody really going to notice? Maybe not. But at the same time,
yes.
The people that do notice, people just overall are like, wow, something is so nice about this. It's because of all the details that got put into it. So I'm in the same thing as I am also looking up how they make, little spider webs, and I got a hot glue gun over an air compressor and I'm shooting spider webs over at things. You know what I mean? But again, details that I don't know if everybody else would pick up on, but I didn't do it for everybody else. I did it because it's what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? I would notice those details are there, and I am a devil's in the detail kind of person, and I absolutely love those details because that is what makes things really special. And when when we do cakes and when we do orders and all that kind of stuff, it's trying to find those little details that make it even more special. Do you know what I mean?
It's
almost
like a
connection. Do you know what I mean? Because again, at the end of the day, you're just going to cut and eat up whatever we make for you. But getting you there and the memories made getting there is the important part, because we've done cakes. Perfect example, I say this all the time, where the devil's in the detail, is we made a cake that was a purse, like a pocketbook. You know what I mean? Which, I don't want to say they're inexpensive because shape cakes take a very long time and have a lot of details, but are far and few in between on, the scale of regular orders, cupcakes, cakes, and classic things. But on the scale of a fancier side, we have a little bit more budget to play around with some different things. Not even saying the money part of it is what's makes it special or not, but the details and the times to work on those details comes in with bigger, fancier orders. But we made this large purse, and obviously, again, beautiful just being a purse. And I can't speak for everybody, but I don't know. I would love a designer anything, you know what I mean? But to have somebody make you a custom designer purse cake was fun. But then not only that, we spilled it over and had a bunch of content spill out of it. Do you know what I mean? And just one of the details that we made was a bar receipt crumpled up. Do you know what I mean? But with that recipient's favorite drinks on it. And I got a call afterwards being that was one of the best things. You even got my favorite cocktail. And I'm like, that's the kind of things that we like. Again, somebody at the party would just see a crumpled up receipt and be like, whatever. But they might look at that and be like, well, that is so, Jessica to have a bunch of crumpled up things in her purse, you know what I mean? But even more to the person that received it, that there was a little tiny receipt with that was filled out. Do you know what I mean? With their stuff in it, and just stuff like that. That if I can ever find a way to customize something like that, or even now we make wedding cakes that will have this beautiful exterior on it, and then at the very bottom we have couples bring in, usually made of clay. Not that I'm not a sculptor, but I'd rather you be able to keep a keepsake from your wedding, and this perfect thing to be go on Etsy, find a little sculptor that makes dogs, and have your dog incorporated into your wedding that can't be there, and we put it at the bottom. And I love smushing their little nozzles and little cute little faces into it. Do you know what I mean? And we get all that in there, and I want their muzzle just covered in the frosting, and then that right there immediately tells a story. You know what I mean? Like just that one single detail. And again, it's a beautiful, pristine, wonderful wedding cake. But then you have that one little decorative feature, you know, that literally tells a story, because everyone look at it and be like, oh my God, that's so that person's dog, because they're always getting into trouble. And, you know, and it brings in that element of their animal that couldn't be there for their wedding.
Right.
It brings in just the aspect of like comedy and all that. So it's just details like that I love, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of stuff that makes it even more special, on top of just making you a delicious cake. You know what I mean?
Well, it does. It takes the ordinary and makes it extraordinary.
Yes, right?
And that's what we all want. We all want that little bit of fabulousness that takes just that traditional piece and it just brings it up to another level. And you do that very well.
Thank you. Our tagline or motto is artistry in every bite. And I try to live up to that all the time because, you know, again, big thing, you want it to taste good. You know what I'm saying? Like 100%. And I think, you know, knock on wood, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but we have some pretty darn tasty things. You know what I'm saying? And I always joke with the staff.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, I always joke with the staff, and I'm like, don't get me wrong. I love my own stuff, but I'm not saying, oh, I'm a snob. I only want, you know, my stuff is the best. But at the same time, I love my stuff, and I try not to compare things to it. But at the same time, I'm down with a little Debbie oatmeal cream pie or like a little cosmic brownie. Like, so I'm not saying, oh my gosh, that's not me. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
a little yodel once in a while
won't kill anybody.
You know.
It doesn't make me, you know, inhuman. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I can appreciate good quality that goes into good things. Do you know what I mean? But like I don't know. I love food. As you can tell, I'm passionate about all of it. I'm sorry. I'm getting off topic.
I am just thrilled that you're here with us today, and excited that we're able to share with viewers what you do.
Yeah.
And if anyone has, I don't think there's anyone out there that has not been to the shop, but if there is, I encourage them to go in or just experience the different seasons, because you do an amazing job with that. You really do.
We have a lot of themes. Like, so, you know, obviously we have classic themes. We decorate for Christmas. We decorate for Valentine's Day, Easter, all the classics. But then in place of times that don't have themed out holidays, we decided to try to, you know, make our own. So we've done pirate themes where we deck out the bakery and the staff and I get to dress up in costumes, because who doesn't love a little dress up time too? Do you know what I mean? So we do things like that. We've done under the sea themes. We've done all sorts of things just to, you know, have this infusion of like something that can challenge my staff, because, you know, in between holidays, sometimes things get a little boring just, you know, making regular frosted cupcakes. So to challenge us and keep us, you know, those creative juices flowing, we're always playing around with different ideas. And if we come up with like a theme, you know, we can then infuse those designs into the everyday, so we can have something a little bit more interesting. And again, as another thing to set us apart from other places.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what is the best way for our audience to experience Pete's Sweets and just celebrate?
Let's see. So first and foremost, I would definitely say coming into the bakery. We always encourage people to come in because, you know, not everybody has an event that they're trying to put on to have something for. But if you come into the bakery around holidays, we often have a lot of themed out treats. You know, going into the holiday season, we're going to have lots of things for Christmas. Whether or not we take the regular Christmas holiday and then layer on a theme on top of it, because sometimes we'll do that. I think this year I had some ideas mulling around in my brain of, for Christmas, doing like a gingerbread-esque theme, you know what I mean? And doing something like that, so we can have a lot of themed items like that, you know what I mean? But from there, if you wanted to check out like our social media, I do a lot of information, and you even touched upon it before. I do a lot of things other than just bakery stuff, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I try to infuse like a lot of things from my everyday life into the bakery. So I'm a beekeeper on the side. So I, you know, have my bees that I tend to every week with one of my good dear friends. And then I can not only show people the amazingness that's behind that, do you know what I mean? But then also get that right into our products. And it's like a farm to table aspect. When I went to school up in Vermont, we were drilled with the idea of farm to table, you know what I mean? And how important that was and amazing that is. And how that's not really something as consumers that we do as much now, that you can roll into the grocery store and at any point in time in the year, find any kind of produce or anything. And we don't do as much seasonal eating. So I do a lot of like gardening and show people like, hey, pumpkins come around in the fall. We should be eating pumpkins in the fall. We shouldn't be looking for pumpkin flavored cakes in the middle of June. You know what I mean? We should be appreciating seasonal flavors. So, you know, it's trying to find that and show people, you that kind of aspect and element. In addition to, we do like classes and all that kind of stuff. So there's just so many different elements that we have to pull into that, I can't give everybody just one side of the business. I would definitely say first and foremost, bakery, come in, you know what I mean? From there, check out all the social media, different YouTube channel, all sorts of things. And then if you have an order or a special occasion, I would love to be a part of it. You know what I mean? So placing orders for cakes is what I would suggest.
I encourage everyone
Yes.
to do that. You've done a few cakes for us, and they were all very delicious.
Thank
My
you.
favorite is the chocolate with the raspberry, but we'll leave that all alone for
Yes.
now. And I am so grateful that you made time to
Thank
come
you.
down. Appreciate having you with us.
Thank you
This
so
was
much
a
for
lot
having
of
me.
fun.
Thank you.
And I look forward to my next visit to
Of course.
Pete's Sweets.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to our audience for watching. If you would like to be the next guest at Conversations with the ERC5 here at Stonegate Studios in Wilbraham, go to our website at erc5.com and you can sign up there.